So I know there's one big name, far-right guy that people call him, Milo Yiannopoulos. He's one of the organizers. He is gay. Do you think it's weird that he's organizing a straight pride parade?
Well, that's interesting.
And also a pedophile supporter, you fucks. That's so dishonest. What the hell?
What was dishonest about the question? Do you
hates you
think that
because
it's weird that a gay guy
Boston
organized?
hates you.
I don't like Milo Yiannopoulos.
Boston hates you.
I was just. Did you think
Boston hates you?
I think you can calm down. Yeah.
hates you.
It's all right. It's cool, guys.
Do you think there's any merit to having a border wall?
None whatsoever.
And you don't think it could, potentially reduce the influx of, sex trafficked children or illegal immigrants or stuff like that?
No.
Okay. I also want to see, you had a Hail No sign over here. What's the reference here with this sign?
Well, it's in the kind of script that was used in Germany in the 30s.
Yeah.
So I think it has special relevance today. And Hell No can also be read as Hell No, Heil No or Hell No.
Yeah. So what's the connection with, Trump and Nazis?
Well, I think that Trump is an American Nazi. A Nazi of an American vintage. There are many different kinds of vintages of Nazis. There are Italian Nazis, there are German Nazis, there are now Hungarian Nazis, Polish Nazis.
And what defines an American Nazi?
An American Nazi is someone whose hunger for wealth or power causes him to stoop to any level in order to satisfy his needs.
And you think that's what Trump's doing?
Yes.
It's you.
How's it going?
To the fascist.
I'm a fascist?
Yeah, we've seen you at rallies.
Why do you think I'm a fascist?
We all know that.
No, but why? Why do you think I'm a
tell me why
fascist?
you're a
Please stop
fascist.
pushing me around. Why do you
Well,
think I'm a
get
fascist?
the fuck out of
Whoa,
our rallies,
I'm not in.
scumbag.
Hey, relax.
Get out of here.
Why
Get
can't I
out
be
of
here? What am I doing here?
Because you've been targeting people online and
Who
we
am I
know about
targeting?
it. Are you with him?
Who am I
Are you
targeting?
fucking with him? Okay.
A lot of the media is talking about like the OK hand symbol. I wanted to ask you, does the OK hand symbol?
That Army Navy football game? Yeah.
Does this mean anything to you?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it's a white supremacist hand gesture.
Should everybody in the media, when they see something like this, should we call this specifically a white supremacist
Yes.
like hand gesture,
Yes.
even though it's like a very common hand gesture that a lot of people use?
I mean, we have to be wary of using it, and it's context, yes.
Let me ask you this question.
Sure
If
thing.
somebody came to burn down your house, do you have the right to stop them?
100%. But has Antifa ever initiated violence?
Well, first of all, no.
No? Antifa's never initiated violence.
No.
Not on the West Coast or the
Second
East
of all, let me say something. You people in the press are always saying Antifa. We are anti-fascist.
North Korea is a republic. It's a democratic republic. But what concentration
You
camps?
want to defend them.
350 years of slavery.
That's a horrible thing, but that's not Nazi. When did that? What is it?
The Nazis did it in Namibia. You never hear of that?
I never hear what.
You never heard of the Nazis in Namibia?
Where?
Look at that. The gentleman doesn't know about this.
We're worried about, I thought, Nazis in New York City. So where are the Nazis in New York?
Worldwide, and they must be fought.
I know, but
Worldwide.
this sign says no Nazi New York City.
To do ignore the rest of the world?
No.
I don't imagine you ignore Nazi Germany.
No, I mean, I wasn't around, and I'm glad that the U.S. intervened. In a video on the rally, any chance I could ask you some questions? So I wanted to ask you, what does it mean for you to be out here in the women's strike today?
You don't necessarily need to talk to this guy. He's a right-wing asshole.
I'm not a right-wing asshole, but thank you for your time. You guys did it! No talking to the big bad fascist. No, nobody's gonna talk to the evil capitalist today.
Yes, they will.
So are you for or against Ben?
I'm against Ben Shapiro. Everything he stands for is just absolutely wrong. His words have a kill count. Like that shooting that happened in Canada up in that mosque is absolutely disgusting. And the shooter's manifesto said that he was inspired by the words of Ben Shapiro. And
Do you think Ben Shapiro's responsible for those attacks?
what's this for?
I have a YouTube channel where I interview people at different events. Was that question unfair? I mean,
No. So Ben Shapiro is responsible for spreading the rhetoric where it causes events like this to happen. You are responsible for what you say. Like, it's important to understand that you're responsible for what you say, and to think otherwise, it's like yelling fire in a crowded theater. You don't do that.
what's something that Ben Shapiro said that you think inspired people to become violent?
I think he said a lot of things regarding Islamophobia. Well, he said Islamophobic things. He's said homophobic things. He's said.
Is there a specific thing though? If we're saying he's inspiring violence, do you think there's a specific quote or something?
Okay, I know what type of YouTube channel this is. Fun.
Yeah, he's a fascist supporter. Turns out, he talks about leftists and is very much against.
I'm a fascist supporter. How am I a fascist supporter?
If you're against Antifa, then you're kind of, you know.
Do you agree with that? If I'm against Antifa, then I'm a fascist supporter?
Shoe fits, wear it. Fuck
Okay.
off.
There you go. Cheers. Yeah, fuck you and your supporters very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. All right. Any chance I get a quick interview, gentlemen? Anybody? No? Thank you, guys.
So you two have to leave. This is not for you guys. So you guys need to leave.
Why?
Because we're not. This is an anti-racist space, and right-wing supporters, Trump supporters, are not welcome.
I'm not a racist.
Oh yeah, if you're a
We
Zionist,
checked you on Google.
Okay.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
These are right-wing bloggers.
These are right-wing bloggers.
This is what they do.
This is what they do.
We've notified the museum guards.
This is harassment. This is harassment.
We're asking them again. They're in our face.
I'm just curious, are you an anti-fascist? Because I feel like we should all be anti-fascist.
Well, what is an anti-fascist?
An fascist is someone who is against fascism. I mean, we had the war.
Could you define fascism, though? Because I'm definitely against fascism. I just feel like fascism has become this catch-all term
It's
or
not
phrase.
a catch-all term. It's very well defined.
So what is a
using
fascist?
Military violence to support political ends versus a democracy where we vote on the changes we want to make. So we should all be anti-fascist. Are you an anti-fascist?
I'm not an anti-fascist.
You're not an anti-fascist. Are you pro-democracy?
I am pro-democracy.
Well, then you're an anti-fascist.
I don't know if being pro-democracy means you're an anti-fascist, though. I wanted to ask
Because
you.
you're fundamentally either pro-fascist or anti-fascist, and I don't think it's that
I'm
hard of a
anti-fascist, but I don't think Antifa means you're against fascism. I wanted to ask you, though.
No, we should all be, every person from my grandmother to you to hopefully these, theoretically the public servants who are out here on the corners. We should all be anti-fascists. We should all be against using violence to push a political ideology.
Are you against political violence?
Yeah.
And do you think Antifa's ever committed violence?
That's not my place to say, but fundamentally, when you have an ideology that is pro-violence, I don't think you can match that with kind words.
Why can't you say if Antifa's ever been violent?
Because I'm not a part of a specific group, but I think we are all anti-fascists and we all should be anti-fascist.
Would you condemn Antifa if they did commit political violence?
I don't know, would you?
Yeah, I would. I'm against political violence totally.
I'm against political violence too, but if an ideology is coming at you with political violence, I mean, they're basically coming into our democracy. They're coming into our home of our democracy with a weapon and they're using violence. Like, what do you do if someone invades your home, your ideology, your democracy?
So give me the example. Where is that actually happening? Because I've seen Antifa attack people before. I've seen them attack people at events before. I want to ask you if you'd condemn that.
I've never seen that, but the media has well documented the fact that
there are videos of it. So
they committed violence outside the Metropolitan Republican Club just up the street, which you admitted to, right?
So I condemn political violence on all sides. Okay, cool. I wanted to ask you a specific event though, because Andy was attacked by anti-fascists.
I'm not the expert on all this stuff, so you should find somebody who's willing to talk to you. But it sounds like
you'd condemn political violence on both sides.
I'm anti-fascist, as you should be, as everyone watching.
So would you condemn violence on both sides?
I'm anti-fascist. Violence. Are you anti-fascist?
I'm anti-fascist and anti-political violence, though. I'm against fascism.
I got a soccer game to go to,
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Where you're from?
Excuse me?
Where you're from?
What do you mean, where am I from?
Where you from?
I'm a journalist.
Journalist for who?
I have a YouTube channel.
Called what?
Barely Informed with Elad.
What?
Can I ask you who you are?
No.
Okay, so don't worry about it. No, you can't ask me who I am.
Don't talk to none of my fucking people.
What do you mean don't talk to? I'm a journalist. I can talk to who I want to. Okay.
Hey everybody, I hope you guys are enjoying the interview so far, but please be sure to hit that subscribe button to support me, support free speech, support these interviews. Let's go talk to some more people.
I'm here as a trans person, as a trans woman, celebrating Women's Day, and as a person who presented as a male for so long, was witness to locker room talk, to toxic masculinity in boardrooms, in workplace, and so the society needs to change. Yeah. And so that's why we're here.
So I know you mentioned locker room talk and toxic masculinity. Could you expand to me a little bit more about what is toxic masculinity? Because we need to identify the problem if we want to change it.
If you, I think it's so obvious if you can't see it and you can't know it.
It's just because I think people conflate sometimes bad behavior with like toxic masculinity, because like they talk about things like rapes on campus and everything, and people call it toxic masculinity. I don't think there's anything masculine about that. I think that's just evil, condemnable behavior. So that's why I asked the question on like toxic masculinity.
A lot of toxic masculinity is evil behavior. So I don't know why you bucket it out.
Yeah.
Rape.
The rape culture comes from toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity is a sense of privilege, a sense of right over other people's bodies. It's offensive, and it's violent, and it's oppressive. And so I do not agree with you on ruling rape on college campus out of toxic masculinity.
Who do you think perpetuates that culture?
It's unfortunately perpetuated by the masses. We're indoctrinated into our genders like a cult in society. And so men aren't even free to find who they actually are. They fill these roles that don't even suit them. There's a higher suicide rate in older men than anyone realizes. In older men.
Oh, yeah.
Than anyone realizes. It's unfulfilling lives. It's unfortunately women, a lot of women who unintentionally support the system.
I wanted to ask, do you have examples of toxic masculinity again? Because I just want to be able to point our finger at something so we can help solve the issue.
I have we all have millions of examples. I'll stick with yours. Rape on college campus, discrimination in a board meeting, talking over another woman,
Or trying to, if that woman says something and then trying to re-explain it to a group of people, I'd say that's a mansplaining. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's just, a lot of people say some really offensive things, and sometimes it's unintentional and sometimes it is intentional, and it's just really ugly behavior. And I really think what the march here today is about is supporting the women who are trying to overcome that. And also adding on to inequality in the workplace, I read in multiple websites that for every $1 a man makes, a Caucasian woman makes 77 cents, a Hispanic woman makes 56 cents.
I wanted to ask you a little bit more on that stat. So I read that study before. Obama actually cited it a lot. That's taking the net amount of men make and then the net amount that women make and then just dividing about the population.
It does. Talk with him more. I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think you're.
That's fair. No, but if
I don't think you should be here, to be honest.
Thank you for your time. Well, I'd have no integrity if I told you all of them before. I'm going to ask you, the most controversial question I'm going to ask you is, Milo's a gay guy. What do you think about a gay guy organizing a straight parade? That's going to be like the most controversial question. No, and it's not a hard question. It's not a hard question at all. So.
There's also a lot of people who have a lot of self-loathing.
Sure. So.
This fucking guy back. It's shit, dude.
Any chance I get the interview?
Thank you. That's fucking laughable. What do you report on?
What am I reporting on? Around, brother man.
Fuck you.
Hey everybody, I am your host Elad, and today I'm reporting to you from Boston at the Straight Pride March, where people are very unhappy with me. Let's go talk to some folks, see what's going on.
Fuck you.
So he hasn't fired Mueller yet. Should we wait for him to fire Mueller before having the protest, or is this still cool to do a little bit,
Hell fucking no. If we waited for that to happen, then we'd be screwed even more. So we have to protest. I think, I know that protests could be seen as just protest, and it's different than things actually getting done. But you know what? I see this as a form of something getting done because it's bringing attention to the issue.
Yeah, because a lot of people on the other side are calling a lot of these protests like liberal mobs, and that's obviously a bad thing to get called here if we're trying to prove a point here. But what crimes do you think Trump's committed?
Well, a lot. First of all, we know that there's 99. We know that he's been colluding with the Russians for the his campaign. I mean, it's just strange that it's not obvious due to how many people surrounding him have literally been indicted and are going to jail, and the fact that just human rights violations, separating families from separating children from their parents.
I was just thinking, because it's been 2 years, the Mueller investigation, and if something would come up, I'm just always thinking, like, why hasn't it come up yet? So that's just my thought on the Mueller investigations. But did you have anything else you want to say?
You know what? No, I would just say that I think that it's important that we stay aware of what's going on and stay vigilant. And even though it's been 2 years, I mean, he's done all sorts of things. Look at what he's done, and now he's president.
So even if Mueller doesn't find any Russia stuff, do you guys still think he should be impeachable? Like, does he still have impeachable offenses on his record?
I do think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where our opinion will differ. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
What channel is this?
I have my own channel. It's just me.
Oh yeah? How many subscribers do you have?
A good amount. Do you want to talk?
I don't know. What are you gonna ask?
I was just gonna ask, what is the Green New Deal and what is its goals?
It's the saving grace of humanity. It's gonna fix our economy. It's gonna fix our future.
And how's it gonna do that?
It's gonna give us green jobs for all that pay. It's gonna decarbonize our economy, and it's gonna give young people a future to believe in. Because right now our future's looking pretty bleak.
And why do you say that? Why do you think our future's looking bleak?
Have you heard of climate change?
I have, but I mean, I'm not denying that climate change exists and humans have some impact. But, a dozen years ago, Al Gore was telling us, we only have 10 years left, and, I mean, we're still around. I also want to ask, how are we going to fund these jobs? Are they going to be government subsidized or government run?
That's a good question. They're going to be at least subsidized. They're probably going to be government run.
Yeah, we already subsidize them.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, well, we subsidize fossil fuels too, and they're costing us billions of dollars a year and costing us millions of deaths a year.
Millions of deaths where?
Everywhere, sir. You should really do some research on what climate change is and not listen so much to Al Gore and listen more to climate scientists. And
I agree with you on the Al Gore stuff. But you were saying millions of deaths. We're not. Where am I missing a million deaths here, a million deaths there? I don't know. Can you please elaborate?
Well, there's things like drought. There's things like food shortages.
Well, droughts and food shortages aren't caused by, a lack of... Wait, can I finish?
No, you can't, because you're wrong already. These things are caused and exacerbated by climate change.
Okay, by a lack of food and water in the world.
And if you disagree with that conclusion, then you're a climate denier, plain and simple, because you don't understand the science and the correlation.
Okay. I wanted to ask, how much carbon emissions, what percent of carbon emissions year over year do you think the U.S. contributes to the world?
14%.
And how do you think if we accomplish everything on AOC's proposal, do you think that'll stop climate change?
By itself, no.
Okay, so how are we going to stop climate change if that was the goal of the Green New Deal?
We need to decarbonize our economy, and America needs to lead by example, and America has historically contributed more to carbon emissions than any other country. So 14% is our current contribution to global emissions. That isn't to say that we are historically responsible for 14%. We're responsible for much more than that, and we are... And therefore, that's why we need to lead by example and decarbonize our economy so those other economies can do it too.
So I wanted to ask, so economies like India's economies and China's economy, they use a ton of fossil fuels, and it makes them a lot of money, and it helps improve the lives of impoverished people in India. Should we tell them to stop using fossil fuels, at the risk of the quality of life of their people?
Well, that's a false choice, because we don't have to risk the quality of life of their people. We can just give them clean energy, and they can have the quality of life they want.
This sounds very expensive. I know one of the common questions is, how do you think we're going to pay for this? So that's the question. How are we going to pay for this?
Taxes.
How high, who, where, and what if I told you that no amount of tax revenue that you're going to break down right now will get you to the net number of everything that's on the proposal?
Then I wouldn't believe you, and I'm not going to give you a number because I don't make policy.
Excellent. One more question. On the FAQ of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's proposal, she said she wants to provide economic support for those unwilling to work and unable to work. Do you support that, and what do you think about that?
That actually wasn't in the policy. That was a pre-published accident on her blog. It's not in the Green New Deal, so don't worry about it.
Okay, so why was it mentioned on her page in the Green New Deal?
Because that was a draft.
So it's an idea in the Green New Deal?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
I just told you that was not part of it.
Not part of it, just on the page that somebody put up?
Just on her FAQ page.
On Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's FAQ page.
That's right. So if you read the resolution, it's not in there, and the resolution is what we're talking about. It was never in there.
It was never in the resolution. Okay. Is there anything else you want to note?
Yeah, we got to stop climate change, folks. Get with the program.
Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. You're welcome. Tell me a little bit more about your sign and why you're out here.
Of course. So my grandmother was put on a train in Poland at the age of 16 at the orders of Hitler. For me, that struggle is not at all disconnected by what's going on in this country today. And so I cannot just stand by while this is going on because it is so personal.
You're using very strong imagery with the Jude things. I was speaking to somebody earlier who thought it might have been a little bit of an extreme example. Do you think it is extreme or a good example to compare the detention center to concentration camps?
So I believe that maybe a few months ago, I will say that that is something that I would have agreed with. But seeing what's going on and seeing how much that more random people will just let it happen, it does feel like something that had politics been slightly different and had people been demonizing Jews, it would be something going on today. It's really hard for me to see a difference at this point.
So I see you have a sign over here. It says, one side says jail Giuliani, and the other side says, today would be a good day for the FBI to raid Don Jr. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here, what it means for you to be out here?
Well, because they're criminals. These people are criminals. So they need to be, taken to task. Absolutely. I've been waiting for Don Jr. to be raided for ever since they raided.
Just so you know, this guy's a member of the alt-right, so if you don't want to interview with him,
Not a member.
Just as a warning.
Okay, good.
Do you think any questions were unreasonable? Like, I'm not a member of the alt-right. I was going to ask, do you think Trump should be impeached or so close to the election?
Well, I think he should go to jail. I'm looking forward for the SDNY to send him to jail. Yeah.
So the most recent accusations of him was him talking to the leaders of Ukraine about misdeeds with Joe Biden and his son. So what do you think about the most current controversy surrounding him?
He needs to go to jail for that.
Trump needs to go to jail.
Oh, yeah, Trump is going to go to jail. Him and his family are going to be like Bernie Madoff. They're going to cut the whole crew of them off. And hopefully Don Jr. follows in the footsteps with Madoff's son, hangs himself.
Yeah. Do you think anything that Trump said about Joe Biden in regards to his son Hunter working for some energy company in Ukraine, do you think there's any funny business going on there?
No. It's already been proven that there isn't.
Feed the trolls if
yeah,
you can.
I know. He told me.
What question there was a troll question?
It was already cleared up. That was already cleared up. There's no evidence.
Look up Hunter Biden because he wasn't qualified to be on an exec board at 29. Hey, excuse me, sir. I'm making a video on the rally. Is there any chance I get a quick interview? Sure. It says independent. I see you have a sign over here. We're at the Straight Pride rally. This says, hanging Nazis is my heritage. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here and about your heritage?
Absolutely. I think it's important that every time Nazis raise their head that we take it down, preferably chop it off.
Absolutely. How do you define Nazi in the modern day?
They're not Nazi in the modern sense. These are classic Nazis, just like the Nazis in Germany in the 30s. Yeah. These are people with a racist rhetoric, racist agenda that's based on some kind of eugenic concept of who's superior, white supremacy, etc., hyper-nationalism and fascism surrounding one leader.
Yeah. So I know one of the organizers is Milo Yiannopoulos. He's a gay guy. He says he's a gay guy. Do you think it's weird that he's organizing like a straight parade?
Well, he says that he's gay, but he also says that he's an aberrant, divergent, and defective human being about himself, which is how he can be associated with the Proud Boys. So, I mean, I don't know anything that he says makes any sense.
Yeah. I'm not a particular fan of Milo, but would you define him as a Nazi?
Absolutely, I would.
Yeah. So is this in general a direct call for like violence now?
It's not a call for Nazi. It's not a call for violence. A call to hang Nazis. I don't think that's violent. I think that's justice.
Okay, fair perspective.
If you commit crimes against humanity, the only recourse is to kill you.
Sure, but in what context are we conflating, Nazi war crimes with like 20 some odd people
about
here?
That. If Nazis were hung before 1938, there wouldn't have been a Holocaust.
Sure, absolutely.
Violent
sorry, I don't want my face on camera.
Safe space over here. You got a gorgeous little safe space over here. Yeah, it's lovely.
Should I be scared?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Why are you out here today?
I'm here to protest you.
Okay, why? What about me?
But you're a fascist cunt.
What is a fascist?
A fascist is somebody who wants to take over the fucking government. Why are you here?
I want to take over the government? You think I'm a fascist who wants to take over the government?
Why are you here, bud?
I'm here to cover the event.
You're here to cover the event. Which publication are you with?
I have a YouTube channel. I'm independent.
Oh, you got a YouTube channel. Oh, shit. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a YouTube channel.
God, that makes
shit. Does your mom know, or is this the secret one?
Channel.
Is
it's not a secret one.
Is this your Finsta or is this your real Instagram? Does your mom know about this YouTube channel?
She does.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to ask you, do you condemn political violence?
No, not at all. That's why I'm standing right
Do you
here.
like political violence coming from either side? You don't mind it coming from either side?
Obviously you don't either. Do you?
I condemn political violence from both sides of the political aisle.
Holy shit, you're a proud boy and you condone political
I'm not.
violence?
Why do you think I'm a proud boy?
Man, I don't know. Why are you standing right here?
Why am I? How does standing here make me a proud boy? What about me is a proud boy?
Well, you're on there. You're in your little safe space, right? So you're on the right side of the bikes.
That's why I'm a proud boy?
Well, no. I'm wondering why you're a proud boy. You should tell me.
I'm not a proud boy.
Okay, interesting. What's the Elad? Ooh, shit. Wow, interesting.
So you don't condemn political violence?
I do condemn political violence. You said you condone it, though, right?
I thought I said condemn.
I think you said condone.
Okay, well, later we could go listen to the mic and we'll be able to confirm. So I wanted to ask, Andy No was recently attacked by Antifa people.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't attacked.
Right. Someone brought a hammer, and the hammer was taken by someone, and the hammer was then used against him.
There's a video of Andy No getting beat up, punched in the face.
Yeah, fucking
beat the shit out of Nazis. Fuck you, you alt-right piece of shit. Come on to me, you'll get smacked.
I know, guys.
Well, see, lying about me being a proud boy is going to get responses like that, so please don't lie, about me. But Andy No got beat up by Antifa.
No,
Would you condemn that violence?
Didn't he have brain damage or something?
If he did get attacked,
oh
do you
my
think
God.
that's... Okay.
Didn't Andy No drop his phone? Holy fucking shit, he must have had brain damage. Oh my God.
No, he wasn't attacked.
Oh wait, wasn't it a concrete milkshake?
Andy No wasn't attacked.
Any fucking concrete
Wait, he wasn't attacked.
He wasn't attacked.
He wasn't punched in the face.
No, he's a cunt. Yeah. Tell Andy.
If he was attacked, would you condemn it?
Tell Andy No I said he's a fucking cunt.
Okay. Would you condemn political violence against Andy No?
If it was Andy No, I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Anything else you want to mention?
Andy No's a cunt.
Line over here, it says, you're the president now, but not the czar. Could you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean by your son?
Pretty much says what I needed to say. He's the president of the people. Czars aren't accountable to the people, and he's acting like a czar. Pretty simple.
So why do we have such a large group of protesters out here this evening?
Because we have an illegal, criminal conduct, corrupt conduct in the White House, and it's got to be held accountable. Quite simple.
So what crimes do you think Trump's committed?
Several.
Could you elaborate, which ones?
He's broken the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. He's definitely obstructed justice in plain sight. They just haven't taken it to court yet. Yeah. And on and on and on, several times. I'm done. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for your time. Why you're out here today for the Pride March?
Well, I'm out here every year for the Pride March.
And I see, I see under your blouse it says, fuck Trump.
It's my wedding dress.
Oh, cool. Could you tell me why it says fuck Trump?
Why it says fuck Trump? Because I want him out of office. He doesn't belong there. He's a Russian operative, and he's caging children.
Do you think Trump's been a good president for the gay community?
No, not at all. He never was. He held our flag upside down at a rally before he was elected. That was our first sign.
I know he says he's the first president who, while running, said he supported gay marriage.
No.
That doesn't mean anything to you?
Nothing. I mean, come on, look at Pence. Pence's record, too.
Yeah.
He picked a vice president who took AIDS funding away to try to get, gay conversion therapy started again. I mean, come on.
Is Ben Shapiro a fascist?
I would say so, yeah.
How so, and what makes Ben Shapiro fascist?
He tends to inspire hate speech and basically incite people who, whether he states he's a fascist or not, then perpetuate fascist acts and or continue the perpetuation of fascist viewpoints.
Could you tell me a racist thing Ben Shapiro said?
I can't from memory, but he's kind of infamous for it, so...
So what is this idea of hate speech and political violence and how far does the First Amendment go with protecting free speech? I want to ask you, do you think Ben Shapiro's leads to violence and is encouraging violence out here?
Absolutely.
How is he encouraging violence?
He basically he encourages a group of people who say they want to hurt people and in some cases kill people. So I don't know.
How is he doing that though? If we're saying killing people.
Hate speech. Yeah. He basically, whether he says it directly or not, is able to whistle blow a very select group of people to say, oh, I've heard it described as by saying, oh, well, today's Wednesday. Well, everyone knows that you're not being literal. You mean something else by today's Wednesday because it's really whatever day it is.
Do you think Ben Shapiro's responsible for any political violence that we've seen?
I don't know if you can say he's the sole cause, but he is a part of it.
Absolutely. And I know you guys obviously don't want Ben Shapiro here on campus, but should Ben Shapiro have the opportunity to speak at campuses if invited?
No, he's a piece of shit.
But he shouldn't have the First Amendment right to come give those speeches on campus?
Not if he's going to use it to incite violence against people.
And so we're kind of going, so how's he inciting that violence? One more time so I understand.
I thought you already understood.
I wanted to get like a phrase or something he said that incites violence, because that's a critical claim of somebody, right?
Do you want me to pull up Wikipedia?
I know. I'll give you an example of one of the transphobic things he said. He says men can't be women and women can't be men. Do you think that's like calling for violence? Would you consider that calling for violence?
As a trans person, yeah.
You think men can't be women and women can't be men is calling for violence against trans people?
Yeah.
How so?
I think that the group of people who would agree with him are people who are usually violent against us. And there's a large rate of violence against trans people in this country currently.
Yeah, but just because somebody doesn't think a man could be a woman and a woman couldn't be a man doesn't mean they want to attack trans people, right?
It generally does, and it generally means that even if they don't attack someone physically, that they're encouraging someone else who can and or will.
Interesting. I had one last question for you. Is there a conservative you wouldn't mind coming on campus and giving a speech that you wouldn't protest?
I'd have to think about it. I'm not too versed on the ones that aren't fascists. They tend to have taken a fascist slant as of late, to be fair.
But is there anybody off the top of your head, right-leaning, that you'd be okay with coming on campus?
I don't know, is there for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay. I think Ben Shapiro should have the right to speak.
I kind of got that vibe from you.
Okay, in conclusion, was there anything else you want to mention?
All cops are bad.
Thank you. All cops. Thank you.